A famine is now imminent in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. That's according to a new report released by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Monday. The report says famine is expected to occur anytime between now and May. 1.1 million people, which is half of Gaza's population, have completely exhausted their food supplies and are struggling with catastrophic hunger and starvation. Alex Duvall joins me for more. He is the executive director of the World Peace Foundation. Thank you so much for being with us. Explain, well, what's your reaction first to this report?
I think these figures are absolutely shocking. I mean, and I've been studying this topic for 4 decades, and I've never seen anything quite like this. By way of comparison, we have at the moment something like 650, 700,000 people in catastrophe, with many more facing catastrophe. And in the worst famine of the last 30 years, which was in Somalia in 2011, at the worst period, we had about 490,000 people in that category. So this ranks amongst, as it is now, it ranks amongst the worst famines in modern times. And sadly, it is set to get quite a lot worse.
And Alex, help us understand the categorization of famine, what that means, what it means for the life of a human being experiencing it or about to be.
So what this IPC, the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification System, does is it has 5 different stages, from stage 1, which is normal, 2, stressed, 3, crisis, which is when aid agencies should get concerned, 4 is emergency, when children start to die from hunger and disease, and 5 is catastrophe or famine. And most of the population is already in stage 4. So already we are in disaster already. The fact that we're talking about imminent famine doesn't mean that things are on the brink of disaster. It means we're already into disaster. And what we see as that disaster unfolds is young children, especially children of under the age of 5, wasting away very fast, and also getting exposed to infectious diseases, waterborne diseases, which their bodies cannot cope with. And that combination is particularly lethal. And then the societal trauma is also enormous, as families search for food, as mothers ration the food that they have to their children, to try and keep them alive under these desperate circumstances. This is not only a physical trauma, but a deep psychological and social one too.
And Alex, then as you look at and apply your long history and knowledge of famine and efforts to ameliorate it, how do you judge what's being done in various ways to try to get aid, and how much more needs to be done?
Well, the airdrops, we just saw a picture of airdrops, that is totally inadequate. What is needed, and back in December, when the previous IPC report came out, clear recommendations followed, and there were 2. One was to cease the destruction of objects indispensable to survival. What the Israeli Defense Forces are doing is, with their attacks on basic infrastructure, on food, on hospitals, on water supplies, etc., they are destroying what is necessary to sustain life. Mm-hmm. And that has to stop. And the other is a full spectrum of humanitarian and rehabilitation efforts. So that must include provision of clean water, of medical services, of shelter, as well as food, and in particular, that special food that is required to nourish young children who are on the edge of starvation. And we cannot wait. This disaster is unfolding at a rate that is really without precedent in humanitarian emergencies in modern times.
And so is there any way in your mind that anything approaching what you've just outlined could happen while there is military action taking place in Gaza?
I think it's pretty inconceivable. And there were clear warnings that were given over the months that this would unfold as it has unfolded, absent a ceasefire absent a full spectrum of humanitarian aid. And those things simply have not happened. And that makes the Israelis, frankly, culpable in what is happening now. And should they not desist from this ongoing military action, and should they not allow in a full spectrum of relief, they will continue to be culpable of starvation crimes under international law.
Alex Duvall from the World Peace Foundation, thank you.
You're very welcome.